We finally made it to the season 1 finale of 1923. This episode is titled Nothing Left to Lose. This is a really long episode. It is 67 minutes long. And we start with small recaps, just a little bit of recaps of what's happening to every single character. Then we go into the episode. Now, there is a lot to unpack in this, and it leaves the door open for what's going to happen in season 2. Spencer and Alex board the Majestic, I believe, the ship that they're going on, and they have to sail it for 3 weeks to go to America. Well, her ex-husband, or her ex-fiance, excuse me, is on the ship, and he kind of is still, upset about what happened, that Alexandra kind of left him, and he is such an enormous, annoying prick that he got what he deserved in this. The guy challenges Spencer to a duel. Yeah, literally walks up to him, smacks him with a glove. It's like, I challenge you to a duel. Okay, can we move on? And then Spencer's being the bigger man, is like, no, I'm not going to fight you. He calls his ex a fucking whore. Like, okay, hold on here. Wait a minute. Let's not go that far. Spencer punches him. They have a duel on the deck, switch swords. The guy pulls a pistol, and then Spencer just tosses him over the ship, and it's chaotic and craziness is happening. They put Spencer in the brig, or if you don't know what the brig is, it's jail. They take Alex back to her quarters, where she has to stay in their room, and that's unfolding. We go back to the ranch, and it's winter. Winter's setting in, and we all know in the Dutton Yellowstone universe, once winter sets in, it's very difficult to control your cattle. And kind of Jacob, excuse me, goes into the bank and says, like, I need something, I need a loan, can we do this? And the bank manager's like, no, we can't do that because, it's not how we do things anymore. And Jacob's like, listen, hey, we did used to do things on a handshake. And then the banker's like, well, that grip is not what it used to be anymore. So, Jacob is struggling with little financial matters here and there. We then see in the beginning how this episode started, how Banner is put on trial, but then he is post bail. And then he kind of confronts Jacob and his crew at the, courthouse. It's interesting. Banner is a really much of an asshole of a character, and it's surprising how he got away with a lot of things. So then we go back to Whitfield, played by Timothy Dalton. And once again, this whole preference for the BDSM shit that he's into is absolutely weird and crazy. I watched that scene a little bit, but then I just fast forwarded because it played no reference or wasn't a plot to move the story forward. So I just fast forwarded. It basically shows how sadistic and how weird Whitfield is, and he'll do anything he can to get what he wants, and that's basically how that happens. And we find that one of Jacob's right-hand men goes, home, and he's married to an Asian woman. He has a daughter and a son, and it's really fun. It's a really great scene. And we find out that one of the new kind of, livestock agents with the red beard, the one that was hired, is also working for Whitfield. And he kind of, finds everything and follows the guy home, and, next thing we know, there are agents coming to the door and taking the wife away because she married a white man. Listen, if it was any possible reason to jump through the television set to go after these guys because of what they said to the kids, and they kicked him while he was down. You don't fucking do that. You don't kick someone when they're down. I would have just leapt through them and just attacked them myself, because what they did, they took their mother away. They left the guy beaten in front of his kids. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that. It doesn't matter if it's Asian or Native American. It's plain and simple. It shows that the white man in this kind of culture back in the day didn't give a shit and didn't care about other people. Well, tenfold, it's coming back to them and hurting them in a big way, more so now than it ever did before. That's besides the point. Let's move on. Now, Tanoa Rainwater is saved by her father and Pete, and they, kind of try and move passage in along and try and get ahead of the priest and the marshal, I want to say, and they're trying to figure it out. The marshals are on the tail with the priest. and kind of Pete and Tanoa kind of, kind of have that lovey-dovey thing. And Tanoa's father's like, don't, no, no, let's hold that lovey-dovey stuff for later. Surviving is what we need right now. And Tanoa, being stubborn, grabs Pete's hand, holds on to it, and then she kind of sobs uncontrollably because she knows now that she's safe. And it's really interesting how her story is unfolding in a way, with a great, great thing, because we know that the Native Americans and Tanoa have been through a lot of shit, and it was shown in this first season, and it's really interesting. Not only that, we have the aspect of kind of Elizabeth, Jack's wife, losing the baby due to a miscarriage. And it's kind of sad because then it's like, what's going to happen now? How is everything going on? And, they have a moment. And then we have Jacob and Kara, and Kara comes out. It's like, what is that? What's going on? He's like trying to, fold a towel or twisting a towel where he can't feel his hands. While that's going on, Whitfield comes in with his men. And it says like, oh yeah, I paid your share of the tax. So if you can't pay me back by the end of the year, I own this house and I own the deed. So Whitfield has a way of doing things, and he's such a prick, and it's so annoying. But you absolutely know what's going to happen, and the whole aspect of, and it's really interesting how everything comes full circle in this episode with 1923, because Whitfield kind of says, oh, it's not going to be, Montana is not going to be for cattle or anything like that. It's going to be for tourism. And what is Beth trying to fight and stop from happening in Yellowstone? Tourism, airport, apartments, condos, things. So it's really interesting how that's, kind of is started here, but then later on that Whitfield kind of failed in his attempts to gain Dutton Ranch, because the Dutton Ranch is actually still with the Duttons. But I'm really curious to see how Whitfield loses the fight. And we see it all happen. And then we go back to the boat, the ship, sorry. And then Spencer's being taken off a dinghy where he's going to be put on port. Alex is stays on board. She tries to, go back to him, but she can't. It's all whole craziness, and the whole Earl of Sussex thing is happening. It's absolutely crazy how one person can control an entire ship of 5,000 people. It's absolutely asinine and insane. But, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Kara writes one more letter to Spencer, but crumbles it up, tosses it aside, and then just walks back to the ranch. And that's the episode. And that's season 1 of 1923. 8 episodes of a first season, and, it's one more season, evidently, which will also run 8 episodes, which will lead into something else. So I'm really curious to see how everything will happen with Spencer, Alex, and the whole Dutton family, and what's going to happen with certain characters, and will the Duttons get their revenge? They will. And how will Whitfield and Banner meet their demise? Will it be by Spencer's hand? Will it be by Jacob's hand? How will this series end? And it's going to be interesting because it's a fun series. I'm having a blast watching this. And literally, Taylor Sheridan wrote every single episode of 1923. The thing is, with Taylor Sheridan writing every single episode of 1923, other shows that he writes takes a backseat, and you don't see that potential move of how the story is going. Like for Mayor of Kingstown, certain episodes drag because he's not writing it, or like Yellowstone is really slowly dull and dense because he's not writing, because he's more focused on the new projects that he's working on. So I'm really curious to see how 1923 season 2 happens, what's going to happen with 1883, the Bass Reeves story. Like, all this aspect is really, really interesting. And I mean, the thing is that Taylor Sheridan, in a way, kind of knows how to write early 20th century, 19th century kind of, I want to say, dialogue in a way, and it works. Harrison Ford fits the role perfectly as Jacob Dutton, but I feel like he's definitely not the matriarch. It's Cara Dutton, it's Helen Mirren's character, and the aspect of everyone else playing, Spencer and Jack, and you have the Whitfield as the villain, Banner, and you have other aspects of what's happening, and the whole aspect of how Native Americans and Asians are treated poorly in this generation. Like, they will get what's coming to them, and they will be saved. But I'm curious to see how that's going to happen. when it happens and why it happens. There is no release date yet for season 2 of 1923. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the fall of 2023 or the winter of 2023 or in the early parts of 2024. Listen, 8 episodes, it's quick, it's great. 48 to 61 minute long episodes. The season kind of dragged on, but it picked up after, I want to say, episode 5, where things got going. So it's really, really fun. For me, season 1 of 1923 gets 5 out of 5 stars. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about season 1 of 1923. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What did you think about the aspects of the story? Did you like this era of the Duttons and seeing how they control the ranch and what they have to go through to protect the ranch? Do you like the characters that are in this show? Who's your favorite character? Who's your least favorite character? And do you like how everything's happening? And do you want more than 2 seasons of 1923? And what do you think is going to happen to certain characters? Let me know in the comment section below about all the questions I just asked. And be sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for new videos on my channel. And also let me know what rating you would give the first season of 1923. I'll see you all in the next review video, and I will catch you all for season 2 of 1923, and thank you for tuning in.